recording. All right, and then here we are with Miri from Zeelum to talk about all the tips and tricks of photography. And if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat, or you can put it in the Q&A as we go along, and Miri will be happy to answer any and all of your questions.
Exactly. All right. Welcome to today's webinar. Visuals are everything in the photography in the e-commerce world. High quality photography is crucial for building trust with your customers, showcasing your brand style and aesthetic, and ultimately driving sales. In fact, studies have shown that products have are 3 times more likely to sell with good imagery than to sell with low quality imagery. Good photography can also help reduce returns and improve trust between your clients as well. Good visuals are not just a nice to have, they're actually a must. If you have the budget for it, investing in photography, I would say would be the first thing to spend your money on, because it is exactly what your consumers are seeing if you're selling online. This webinar is going to be focused on all, the beginners before you get to the place where you have the budget for your photography. I'm going to try to help give you a little insight into how you can get there to a place where your clients trust you enough that now, your obviously revenue is coming in, and then you're going to be able to afford high quality photography. So I'm going to focus on one photography equipment right now, and that is your smartphone. Everybody has one. Even if you can't afford a camera, you usually will have a smartphone. So I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into how you can take what you already have and elevate it. Many modern smartphones have high quality cameras in their phones. There's actually little gadgets that you can attach to iPhones that they sell on Amazon that elevate your lens. Like you can literally attach a teeny lens to the back of your phone. There's extremely cool gadgets out there for this. I recommend getting a tripod, because anytime you take e-commerce photography, you want it to be extremely still and you want it to be extremely clear. I'm going to go into a little bit into lighting right now, because lighting and styling is the most crucial aspects that you can focus on now that you already have your camera. My favorite kind of lighting is actually natural lighting. So if you can photograph either outdoors or by a large window or a doorway or something that has the sun coming in some way, it's always going to be the best lighting. Like now, I actually wish by this webinar that I was near a window. I'm not. There's also various light boxes that are really inexpensive that you can buy on Amazon if you don't have the lighting option, or if you're photographing at night, that goes out the window. As well as my other favorite kind of lighting for smartphones is a ring light. Classic ring light from Amazon as well, my favorite store. Now, the goal is to create a well-lit natural background that showcases your product. So ideally, you can photograph either on a wall, on a table. If you have small products like a shoe, jewelry especially, you do want a little box to put it in, because it can help control the light that is coming in from wherever it is coming in. Either it's the outdoors or the ring light. And some light boxes have little, LED lights inside. Some don't. It doesn't matter. It depends on, obviously your preference. Now, then we get into styling. Styling is a critical aspect of e-commerce photography, because it can really elevate the look of your item. Like you can take a shirt or a bag and kind of just put it on the screen, but then you can style it. And styling really, the more you put into the styling, the better your product will look. Pay attention to how you drape the garment. If you have any apparel or any blankets or anything that has fabric, steam it. There's very inexpensive steamers out there. You don't want to have those wrinkles in your garments, because anybody who's looking online, and if you think about it for yourself, when you're looking online, you want to make sure that if you see a garment that doesn't look like somebody took care of it, you're not going to really want to give it the attention that it should deserve, because it could have been created perfectly and everything that went into the production could be amazing. But if the item is wrinkled, it's just going to kind of mess that up. That's for fabrics. Now, for my favorite thing to do when it comes to styling, like choosing a styling when you're photographing for sales purposes, so for e-commerce, I like to go and look at the designer sites. Like if I know that my product's competitors would be on, let's say, Amazon or Nordstrom or Bloomingdale's or even designer. I actually love Burberry.com. I think their website's fantastic. Or Net-a-Porter also is one of my favorites. I would recommend finding your product on these sites and seeing what they do, because it's not necessarily that you're copying them, kind of you are, but because it's e-commerce and I'm not focusing on creative right now. I'm really focusing on selling the actual item. You don't have to get creative. And they actually spent so much money on figuring out, they do a ton of research figuring out what gets the best return on investment. So if they chose these poses, they chose it for a reason. And if you have the exact same kind of item, why not copy it? You just piggybacked onto their years and years of research and millions of dollars. And that's it. Like if your item can compare and your visuals can compare to an item that costs that much money, or to an item that is sold on Amazon that has, hundreds of thousands of buys, you're already in a great place, because if these consumers trusted that item, they're probably going to trust your item as well. I'm going to go back into
We do have a
lighting.
question. We do have a question about best strategy for jewelry photography from iPhone with or without accessories. Would you
So I
link
actually have
yeah. And then
I
it says,
have a fantastic product to get into that. There is a fantastic product out there. It's actually a cone from the company is V Flat World. They sell on B&H. I believe they also sell on Amazon. It really looks like a cone. And what it does is it controls the light. So if you take your phone from on top and like you have the item in, you can actually like really make sure that there's no weird reflections on jewelry, because what the hardest thing about photographing jewelry is the reflections that come in. So, and I'm going to get into it more when I, go more into the lighting, but this cone I think is fantastic. I could be other brands sell it. I happen to have seen it there and I was like, that's a genius idea, because it really makes sure that there's no outside reflections coming into, especially when you have silvers and golds and, anything reflective.
and
The
what
name
was
of the
that
cone,
cone again?
I don't know the name of the cone. I know that the brand is called V Flat World. So the letter V, Flat World. So let me write that into the chat as well. V Flat World. Once you're on that website as well, you can see there's a lot of great products that they sell that help. Like they sell little, fake backdrops and stuff like that. So you can definitely check out their website. They also sell it on B&H Photo, which is my go-to photography store. But yeah, so getting back into is 1 second. I believe there was another question.
Would you,
Oh, I'm sorry. Who's computer frozen again? Sorry
yeah.
about that. Okay, lighting and styling, I would say, are my top two most critical elements in e-commerce photography, because it can make or break the way your product looks. I recommend experimenting with lighting. This is going to be the thing that takes the most time in advance. And then once you get it right and get the kind of lighting you want set up, everything, and the styling that you want set up, everything becomes seamless. So I would tell you to experiment. Find the kind of imagery that you want your item to look like, and take your ring light, take, the sun, or, just bring the lighting in from different aspects. For jewelry, I recommend using having a backlight as well, because it can help just make sure you're really lighting up all aspects to your metal surfaces. If you're shooting clothing, I usually like kind of a straight on view, but a little bit moved, so that you have this like small shadowy effect that gives it a little bit of dimension, but also you don't want it to be too much off centered, because the more off centered you go, the more the wrinkles show up. That the best view is kind of top slightly off, because then you see less wrinkles. Avoid overlighting items. That is a mistake some people make, because they're like, I want it to look bright and vibrant. But the problem is that happens a lot of times there is that, first of all, things can look blown out, and also it will look less accurate to what the item is. And you want your item to look exactly like in the photo, like what it looks obviously, but better, like, obviously you want to enhance it. But if your coloring and lighting is different than what your garment is, that's going to increase returns significantly. And that's going to increase customer distrust. And the best thing that we want right now, we want to build our customer base. We want them to look at an image, love what they see, buy the item, and love the item as well. And then that will continue, that will get them to tell their friends, and obviously to keep buying from your website. So that is, color accuracy is definitely key. Then it comes to like angles of your items. So again, this kind of goes back to where I would say research your competitors, research the kind of brand that you want to be, the level, the scale level, and then try to get in as many angles as you can. Especially now you're doing this from your phone. You have the capability to get various angles. Try to get as much as you can on, because that's going to also improve trust. The client's going to see a lot of angles. They're going to know exactly what the item's going to look like. They're going to want to buy it. I recommend on model photography. It is a whole different category to how to photograph. I don't know that iPhones can photograph e-commerce model photography very well. It can photograph on model lifestyle outdoor photography. I think it does a fantastic job for social media. For e-commerce specifically, I recommend if you're not actual garments and you have a jewelry, then you can get a close-up of the neck shot. You can get a close-up of an arm on a white background. Like that is much easier once you have close-ups of the item. Otherwise, if you're doing it in use, I would recommend a lifestyle setting, not a white background, because that can give an authentic feel to it. And I wouldn't recommend it as your main image. I would recommend it as your secondary image. So you look professional, but you also look like you're relatable as well. For image editing, I actually, I have an app I'm going to show you. I'm going to go into this a little bit, and then I'm going to show you an app that I actually highly recommend. It's fantastic for image editing. And also, again, straight from your phone, which is why I'm actually on the webinar on my phone so that I can show you this app. But I always recommend keeping editing to minimal, because you don't want to over edit. Again, same idea. You want it to look accurate. You remove any blemishes, any imperfections that, that happen to show up on your image, you want to remove. You want to take wherever the backdrop you took your photo on, whether it's a wall, a table, the best thing to do is kind of remove that. So I have an app here. I'm going to share my screen.
Miri, we have another question here.
Oh,
okay.
awesome.
It says, when I shoot with my iPhone for jewelry, the stones always come out darker than in real life. Is there some way to get the accurate colors during the shoot, or only in computer post-production?
So I have a Galaxy. I don't know if you can do this for sure, but I believe you can. On a Galaxy, when you're taking a photo, you can tap the screen and kind of brighten it up a little. I don't know if you have that on the iPhone, but there's got to be some way before you take it on the iPhone to kind of amp up the brightness if you can. If not, then you'd have to do it in production. But I would also recommend maybe a brighter ring light for your iPhone, because one or the two should help. I actually kind of practiced before this. I was like, let me see everything I could do on my phone. So I did photograph jewelry, and because I'm on a Galaxy, which is my favorite kind of phone, I was able to just tap my screen and like amp up the sun, and that's it. It was perfectly bright. I'm going to show you this app now. I don't actually have jewelry images right now to show you on this app, but I have other accessories and photos to show you how this app works, and you can kind of use it from there. So here's my screen. Okay. Beautiful. So I'm going to start from scratch. So here is the app. It's called Photo Room AI. And it uses AI to cut out your images and put it on all different backdrops. You can make your own profile picture as well. Take a photo of yourself and cut it out. It also helps export all your imagery into every size that you need, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, social media, e-commerce, really everything, which is fantastic, because if you want to post on a few different platforms, it's just really the click of a button. So I'm going to start by collecting a photo from my gallery. I've got some accessories. These I just took right before this webinar. I kind of just, styled some items, put it down, and or let's start with this. So this is a pajama top. Immediately, I've got the background removed. Now, I took this, the lighting I used for this was it was like straight on top with a slight shadow. So if you see under the armpit on the right of the shirt, like on my right of the shirt, you see a slight shadow, which gives it a little bit of a dimension, but helps ensure that the wrinklage, looks as nice as it possibly can.
Can you go back to your original picture?
So my original picture, yeah, let me go back to my original. Let me go into my photos. My original photo looks like this. So if you see here, I took it on a green backdrop. Here's the little shadow that I was talking to you about. So it just gives it a little bit of a dimension. You do see some volume and you do see some texture, but it's not overly, wrinkled. I do like to, especially with apparel, I like to tuck the arms under a lot because it just gives it a nice sleek look. I also like to, just make sure the spacing is good and everything is nice. Now, the only thing is that this background is green, and even if this background was white, it would be an off-white. And if I'm selling on Amazon or Shopify, I want to keep it a clean, consistent, let's say a white or a clean, consistent, same colored gray. So like, let's say this was taken on the same backdrop and the background looks so much brighter. So it would be inconsistent if I was putting this all on a website. So what I want to do is I want to take all these images and I want to put it on a white background, add a slight natural shadows. So I'm going to go into here, grab this image out, and that immediately cuts it out. Now I'm going to decide what I want to do with it. So I go into, let's say, a white background. So I clicked on that. Now I can do layers, backgrounds, shadows, resizing. I can add a text or I can insert other items. So for layers, what you can do is you can go to the background and you can choose a color. So I happen to love a slight off white. Like I kind of like this gray. It's really pretty. If I was selling on Amazon, I can't do this, but I like this for now. And now I go into the apparel. The apparel looks very cut out though, because there's no natural shadow. So I kind of want to add a little shadow. Now to me, this shadow is a little bit harsh for what this item is. So what you can do is either you have these options. This would be for apparel. Or you can go into custom. So I'm going to go into custom, and here I can adjust the intensity. So I kind of want it a little bit, kind of like a little bit lighter. Then I want to move the shadow, drag it around because I felt like it was a little too far from the body. I want it a lot closer, so it really just looks like gives it this natural, small shadow, but you can't even really tell it's there. So this is my preference, but of course you can do at the preference of your choice. You can also blur it. You can also change the shadow color. So like, let's say now I'll see, does a lighter gray shadow look better? To me, for this, I think I'm going to stick with the black shadow, and you can turn it gray. You can make it brighter, darker, but I kind of like it actually, as I'm going through it, I like it like this. So now I'm done with the shadows. I can take the layer and I can adjust it. So let's say I had this garment right in front of me and I felt like it looked a little bit too pinky. Like it should be a little bit, have an orange tinge. So I can go right now into warm and I can adjust it according to what I think looks best for the garment. So this is like slightly more purple. This is slightly more red. And when you're looking at the garments, you're looking at the item together, you can kind of establish a color. And all this is on a phone app. You can add different highlights. You can sharpen it if you feel like it needs a little bit of a sharpened. You can brighten it. I happen to think this is a good brightness for what the garment looks like, but you can brighten it if needed, especially if if you're going to need it for that. And then let's say now I'm done. I want to resize it. You go into here. You can click all your resizing, whatever you want. You can click Pinterest. And then you can do either fill, which now cuts off the item, or fit. So obviously I typically recommend fit, but you can do for Instagram posts, Instagram story, whatever it is. And it will even give you the image size. Like a square would be 1512 by 1512. A rectangle, they give me 1500 by 2000, which is extremely high resolution. The fact that it was captured on a phone. you can enter the pixel size that you want if you have a specific custom size that you want. So it really gives you what people do, what we do, what photography companies do on Photoshop. It gives you on your phone, which is incredible. And then you can export it, save to gallery. You can share it to your email, wherever you want to put it. You can change the name. You can change the export settings. So certain programs need a JPEG, certain programs need a PNG. You can keep original file name. You can give a different file name, or you can edit it. So it really, really does have fantastic options. To get back into the chat room, did anybody have any questions on this app that you would like me to share?
What was the name of the app again?
It's called Photo Room AI. Let me just make sure I'm saying the right name. It's called Photo Room AI.
Photo Room AI. Okay.
It looks like, sorry, I have a lot of apps, everybody. It looks like this, Photo Room.
And was that a free version?
That was, so this, I'm actually, that was not the free version. I don't know if they have a free version. They have an annual fee and a weekly fee. And I just downloaded the trial for this, for the sake of this, but I've always heard about this app. We use Photoshop in the studio, but I've been hearing from other people who are beginners in this field and who, put out quality content that I was like, what did you do it on? They did it on Photo Room AI. So sharing, a little bit of that. So in answer to that, I just saw the question of the free version. I recommend trying out the free trial for a week, feeling your way around it. And if you do like it, purchasing it. I do know that Photoshop also has a app. The reason why I did Photo Room AI instead of Photoshop is I just felt like this was very seamless and does a lot of the work for you. So I feel like it's just easier. But if anybody has a background in Photoshop, they have the Photoshop app, and that's fantastic as well. Does anybody have any questions on the app or on any of the usages?
If you have a question that you would like to ask and not type in, let me know and I can turn you on. So I will allow you to talk, I guess is what I mean to say. So, all right, it looks like right now everybody is good. So
Everyone's good.
Continue on.
Okay, amazing. So, first of all, I hope that was all helpful. There
is another question. Is there an app you like specifically for model shots?
For model shots, there is a program called Model Shots. Model Shots is much more difficult. The reason why model shots are more difficult is because of hair. You want to feather out the hair. You don't want it chopped out fully. Photo Room AI, I did do a test on them with actually a furry blanket. And I can show you that right now, but they didn't do a fantastic job on that, which is why I didn't even share it in the webinar. But here, second, sorry. Here, I'm going to show you. This is a blanket. So it's a Sherpa blanket, but when they cut it out, if you see the Sherpa detailing on the edges are kind of just not perfect. It's good. It doesn't look bad, the image. And also for products, by the way, in terms of shadowing, I like to add, like kind of a bottom shadow, like that looks, gives it depth. So this shadow would be perfect, but I don't think it's fantastic. I don't think it's, top rated. For that, you may have to really, kind of take a better Photoshop class, because I think Photoshop does cut it out the best. So it is more expensive. It is much more difficult, which is why I was saying in general, model photography for e-commerce, I don't really recommend a phone, because I don't think that it comes out as good. I think for products, you really can you can do a great job. For jewelry, for everything, I highly recommend shadows, because I think that makes a difference between something looking a little bit choppy and a little bit amateur to like higher end. So the fact that this app has so many really good natural shadowing options, or sometimes sometimes you can get, if you get the lighting right, you can get a perfect natural shadow when you take the photo of the jewelry, and you can keep it on, the kind of backdrop that you already photographed it on, whether it's a light box or kind of a white or light gray backdrop. But if you have that shadow, it just makes it look so much more high end. And with less, it doesn't even take that much effort. So I recommend it.
Okay, thank
And
you.
jewelry, by the way, is for sure from every product, aside from, I guess, now Sherpa, but I really think jewelry is the hardest product to photograph. So there's so many YouTube classes on how to photograph it. And I would recommend, pulling in different, first of all, that cone, like I said, is not expensive, but you pull in the right equipment, you really can make jewelry look fantastic on a phone.
Okay.
The app that I'm
Oh,
talking about is called Photo Room AI. They have it on smart Galaxy Samsungs, and they have it on iPhones.
and it really does do a whole lot. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I
it's
couldn't believe
crazy.
how fast you did that.
I was showing this to our actual editing team in the studio, and they were like, "Can we shortcut?" I gave them the answer no, but it is tempting. It really is great. And I think that if you get to that point of really nailing in these phone photographs, I think that, you can get your sales up. You can get to a place where people are going to think that your photos could have been taken professionally. And then you're getting to a place where you can really, continuously elevate your products and your sales and everything like that.
Okay, here's another question. Any attachment for the iPhone to use for jewelry?
There are lenses, macro lenses that they sell, I believe on Amazon, that they sell that are like, they literally look like when, like how your lens is like a teeny circle, they look like a little plastic that goes on top of it, and they can be different macro lens settings for these kind of items. Also on an iPhone, I recommend using the macro settings for jewelry, or on a Galaxy. And I recommend, if you want to take fabric shots of anything, whether it's a bag or anything that has a fabric, take a macro shot, take a close up. It will be so sharp. You can literally see like the thread counts.
Mhm, mhm.
I
And,
don't have any examples of jewelry photography on my phone right now.
but you do on your website.
On my website, we take a lot of jewelry photography.
Yeah.
Yes. Zeelum.com.
And also there was a question. Yes, this is being recorded and we will upload it afterwards to our YouTube channel. And I can Zeelum. Let me just share your website in case you would like to see it. Um, Here is their website. And by the way, they actually have 3 locations now.
Yes, we're in New York, New Jersey, and California.
So, I guess if we can go on. Oh, so these are some of your,
Yeah, this is some skincare, jewelry, different accessory images that we've shot. I can send you some more examples after this call of who was the one who wanted jewelry samples? Lolly, I can send you some photos of jewelry that we've done. I can send you our portfolio, or it's on here as well.
here's a scarf. I know we have a scarf brand here. That is nice how you did that.
Yeah.
Let's give it a little bit of, um, yeah. Okay, I will let you continue on.
Okay.
Oh,
Do I
here's
have
another
any?
question. Sorry. Did you see this? Do you use
Yes.
real models for jewelry or AI models on your website?
On our website, all the jewelry photos that we posted are real models. However, we do use AI models. pretty often because a lot of Kohl's specific websites that want usage for a while, they prefer an AI model because then they don't have to deal with the usage. So we do that. We take the photo and we put it onto. We have a whole portfolio of fake people that look real.
Somebody asked, they noticed a lot of the jewelry photos don't have shadows.
That was for our portfolio, specifically for the portfolio purpose, because it's a very specific look and all of them are PNGs with no shadow. But that was just for our portfolio. All those images, when they were actually posted on their website, they had a shadow. I can't recall. I don't think we have any clients that do without a shadow for jewelry. We photograph a lot of everybody knows Little Word Project. We do a lot of their jewelry. They all have like a slight shadow. We do yeah, we definitely do. We do a lot of, it's obviously escaping me now, but all the jewelry we do, which I can send a portfolio of. We also do 3D rendering for jewelry. That's definitely higher end and not cheap at all, but it's fantastic because you can get so many views. You can get an AI video of your product, and and it really looks realistic.
And if anybody happens to be in New York, their studio in New York is right on Broadway. I know New Jersey is a little bit more of a haul, but you can go in and see they're always busy. Every time I go there, I see something really amazing that's being shot. So, feel free to reach out to Miri and she will be happy to take you through their studios and all the
Yeah.
different, I mean, she's giving you how to do it yourself, but when you get to the point where you need somebody to take pictures, what they have is pretty incredible. All the investment they've made into all the different photography, technology, whatever you call it. So,
We call them our little robots, but yes, you're all invited whenever. If anybody's in California, we have a California studio. If you're in New York, we're 1412 Broadway, right in Midtown. So, and it's true, there is always something going on, and we've got a fridge stacked with like wine and drinks, and it's happy hour somewhere at all times. So you're invited. Just kind of like to, end this um, and then I'll, feel free to answer any questions that anybody else has. Investing in product photography is not just a nice to have, it really is a game changer. It's a difference between a customer clicking buy now or clicking away. It's really the difference between a sale or a missed opportunity. It's worth every penny. As owners and business owners, designers, as some of you, I'm not sure where everybody's from, but I know a lot of you are from small businesses. You can't do everything alone. So if you give, if you give away the jobs that are the more difficult jobs, it can really be worth it. By investing in high quality visuals that drive sales, you're also freeing up your time, and then you can expand your actual product base, your sales, and growing your business. Shein is a company worth $64 billion. I shop on Shein a lot. If you think about it, when the items come, the quality is like, I can't believe that they make $64 billion. And I believe that a lot of it is because they invest in making their products look amazing. Their photography they have such good photography. And it's crazy how sometimes I look at high quality brands with with imagery that's not as good. And it's like their product is so much more fantastic. But the reason everybody's going to Shein is because they're trusting something that's so untrustworthy. And it can sometimes boggle my mind, but how much more so if you have a product that is actual quality and you can take the right photos, it really makes the sales soar. It's showing your customers that you care about the details also. It's not necessarily just saying, oh, hey, I want you to see the product. I want you to see that I give my product so much attention that you should too. Everyone has to start somewhere. So obviously, I'm hoping that my lesson, my quick lesson today, I'm hoping that can help you get your photography right now so that that you can get to the place where then you're like, all right, I got this. I got my sales in, now I can get to the next level. And when you're at the next level, feel free to reach out to me. Anybody who joined this webinar today gets a 15% discount off of your services at Zeelum for a year. So, feel free to let me know you were here, and I'll make sure to give you that discount.
And, when you were talking about good photography, one thing I forgot to mention is that our Design Excellence Awards are just opened. So, and we do our Design Excellence Awards once a year, and we have a lot of different categories, from accessories to jewelry to sunglasses, all different kinds of categories. But the most important thing that we tell people is send an amazing picture, because people vote for your product based on the image. So
That's what they're saying. And this day and age, this is what they know of your product, is what they see.
mhm.
If you live in Texas, most of our clients ship from all over the country. So you ship your items to us. If you're photo shooting on model, you can join on Zoom and you actually see exactly what we're seeing. So you're virtually at the photo shoot. You can make your comments. You can ask, it's like you're talking to the model. And if you're photographing any product photography, our turnaround is typically 2 to 3 business days. We have done less than 24 hours turnarounds as well. And that happens all the time in the fashion industry. And yeah, let me make sure. I just saw a couple of questions come in. Oh, thank you, Jody.
Yeah.
Yeah, the website I was just referring to that makes 64 billion is Shein, Shein. They're a company based in China. It's like, to me, it's crazy that I'm always kind of watching them, because I'm like, how? And another example of not a brand that's not low quality, it's just Zara. Also, they invest so much money in their photography, and it's incredible. I mean, I like their products also. I think their products are good quality too, but their photography is really, like, I think it's next level. And I think it really gets them to a place where everybody wants to shop there.
Does anybody have any other questions? And if you would like to ask it in person, I would be more than happy to, allow you to talk, because sometimes it's easier just to ask the question. So if you would like to, please let me know. And also in the chat, I did put about the Design Excellence Awards. So please check those out too. They just opened up. We make the final is in September. That's when we announce our finalists, and then the winners get announced in November. So we're very excited.
Okay, got to check it out.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions or anything?
And then, so one thing is, what are the 2, 3, 4 things that are worth the investment for taking great pictures?
Well, first of all, hiring the right company. But if you can't, I think the lighting is crucial. It's really the lighting. But I mean, you have to get the styling down pat, but that's not investment. That's time investment. Styling is really until you get it perfect, it takes time. It really does. But if you don't, obviously, if you can't do it right now and you don't have the budget for it right now, I really recommend learning how to style. There's so many tutorials on YouTube about, let's say you sell a necklace, how to best style a necklace to amp up sales. Put it on YouTube. You'll have, just a ton of search results. Like, really learn about that. Like, learn also about the lighting, learn what lighting does. Like, lighting has so many, like, reactions to the different places that you put it in. And if you can figure out what looks best with your item, and it's just these kind of things, like the time that you spend putting into that, it really pays off. So give yourself a crash course on, on that.
And one question that we often get is, because when we're requesting things, we always say high res. And some people send us and they're not high res enough. Is there a way to make pictures high res after they're taken, or it has to be done at the beginning?
So to answer that, it has to be done at the beginning. However, if you're doing it on an iPhone, then you have, as you saw on that portfolio, you were able, I could have made it high res. So high res is anywhere above, I would say low res is anywhere below 1500 pixels. High res is anywhere above 2500 pixels. Pixels is the dots that go into the photo, but our standard that we provide to clients, if they don't actually give us what they want, is 4000 pixels by 4000 pixels. That might be a stretch for an iPhone, but I believe that iPhones and Galaxies can really get to 3000 pixels, and 3000 is really a good resolution. So I would say to start there and just don't do anything that decreases your resolution. Some people do, they take screenshots. Screenshots will decrease your resolution highly. Some people try to send it through various messaging platforms like WhatsApp or even standard messaging. Don't do that as well. Send it, try to send your image in an email. And if it says it's too high resolution, that's a good thing. Send it through one of these, either Dropbox or WeTransfer. I'll write that in the chat. WeTransfer is amazing. It's free of charge and it sends a link, and you could send it that from your phone in a WeTransfer or from a computer. And it sends out a link of your image in the exact resolution that you sent it at, that you had it in originally. So all this really helps that you're not shrinking your image. You just want to avoid shrinking anything. Because also, don't take an image. Another thing, don't take an image from social media. Automatically, when you post on social media, they decrease the resolution. And they do that because their app can only hold so much resolution, and that's fine for social media. But you don't want to do that and then put it on your website and you just shrunk the image for no reason.
Good to know. Good to know. All right. If there are no other questions, we will, go ahead and end a little early. And feel free to reach out to Miri. And if you are in the city and would like to see their studios, I would highly recommend it. And they do every kind of fashion photography. They have amazing, when the 360 and all of those different things. And then they have the huge studio in New Jersey, and then the most current studio they just opened in LA. So thank you very much, Miri.
Thank you everyone for
Great
joining.
information. And if anybody does have any other questions, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining, and I hope to stay in touch.
So, all right. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.